guide us through a night of film starring Emma Thompson here on TCM. She is the acclaimed British actress who has won 2 Oscars to date, one for Best Actress for her performance in Howard's End, and one for Best Screenplay for the film we're about to watch. From 1995, it's Sense and Sensibility, directed by Ang Lee. Emma Thompson grew up in a creative household as the daughter of director, actor, producer Eric Thompson and actress Phillida Law. Originally, Emma Thompson had wanted to be a writer, but while studying at Cambridge University, she joined the school's comedy group called Footlights and discovered a love of acting alongside future actors Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie. After graduating, Thompson started to forge a career in theatre, teaming up with her then-husband Kenneth Branagh, but she became a star in her own right with Howard's End and had also quietly written the adapted screenplay for Sense and Sensibility before she was famous, and it finally made it to the big screen in 1995. Based on the Jane Austen novel, Thompson focused her adapted screenplay on the kinship between the 3 Dashwood sisters, with their romantic relationships being in the background. She also called her take a story of survival because when the film begins, the sisters and their mother are left virtually penniless after the death of Mr. Dashwood. He had to leave his estate to his sole male heir, who is their half-brother John Dashwood, played by James Fleet. He and his selfish wife Fanny, played by Harriet Walker, ignore Mr. Dashwood's request to look after the women and force them to move out. Emma Thompson plays the eldest sister, Eleanor, who is reserved with her affections toward Fanny's visiting brother, Edward, played by Hugh Grant. And in contrast, Marion Dashwood, played by Kate Winslet, is fiery and passionate and quickly falls in love. From 1995, also with Miriam Francois as Margaret Dashwood, as well as Alan Rickman, Hugh Laurie, and Imelda Staunton, enjoy Sense and Sensibility. Throughout the 1990s, the work of Jane Austen was experiencing a bit of a resurgence in film and television. There was a film version of Persuasion, and Clueless, based on Emma, was hugely successful around the world. And we can't forget about the BBC TV adaptation of Pride and Prejudice with Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy, which was also a big international hit. As was Sense and Sensibility, which was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. The film took home 1 Oscar for Emma Thompson, but not for her acting. It was for her adapted screenplay. Thompson had written the screenplay in the early 1990s, and it took about 5 years to complete because of how complex Austen's novel is. Thompson did so many drafts that she said the final script was the, quote, result of many tears. Following this success, Thompson has continued to write screenplays, most notably Nanny McPhee from 2005 and its sequel. And we have more in our night with Emma Thompson coming up. Next is a beautiful Merchant Ivory period drama from 1993, where Anthony Hopkins plays a straight-laced butler working in an estate just before World War II, alongside a housekeeper played by Emma Thompson.
Next on TCM, the remains of the day. Then In the Name of the Father, and later, Much Ado About Nothing. Something's Gotta Give on TCM today.
Hello, welcome back to TCM, where tonight we're celebrating the work of Emma Thompson, because why not? I'm Alicia Malone, and it's always a pleasure to watch Emma Thompson acting on screen. And next we have a great performance she gave in The Remains of the Day from 1993. This script was based on a novel by Kazuo Ishiguro, and the story follows a butler named Mr. Stevens who works for an estate in England prior to World War II. He's all business and is a dedicated butler, turning a blind eye to his boss's political views, but his professionalism even extends to denying himself his own happiness as he develops feelings for the housekeeper, Miss Kenton, played by Emma Thompson. The film rights to the book were snapped up by playwright Harold Pinter, who had read it while it was still in galley form. The initial plan was for Mike Nichols to direct, with Jeremy Irons playing Mr. Stevens and an American actress like Glenn Close, Angelica Houston, or Meryl Streep as Miss Kenton. But Columbia Studios wasn't willing to spend the kind of money it would require to hire that cast, and Nichols soon dropped out as the director, but he stayed on as a producer. It was Nichols who suggested James Ivory as a replacement director. Ivory was becoming known for his sumptuous yet restrained period pieces adapted from books and made in collaboration with producer Ismail Merchant and screenwriter Ruth Praver Jobvala. All three came on board and they were perfect choices for this film, casting Anthony Hopkins as Mr. Stevens and Emma Thompson as Miss Kenton. This was a reunion for Hopkins and Thompson, who starred together in the Merchant Ivory production of Howard's End. Also with Christopher Reeve, Ben Chaplin and Lena Headey from 1993, this is The Remains of the Day. Ugh, it's also beautiful and tragic and repressed and English. I love it. And director James Ivory and producer Ismail Merchant wanted to make sure the film was truly, authentically English, hiring a former butler to the Queen as a consultant to teach Anthony Hopkins the etiquette of butlering. Meanwhile, Emma Thompson had auditioned to play Miss Kenton in the early stages of pre-production when Mike Nichols was the planned director. She was turned down because the producers thought that US audiences would be more likely to see the film if it starred an American actress. But once Ivory and Merchant took over, they chose to cast Thompson with Hopkins, and because these two actors had worked together on Howard's End, they already had a good understanding of each other, which made the whole process easy and fun. It was successful in the US too, with The Remains of the Day nominated for 8 Oscars, including Best Actress for Emma Thompson. And she was actually nominated for 2 Oscars that year, as well as Best Actress. She was also nominated in the Best Supporting Actress category for our next film. It's a powerful Irish drama about the wrongly imprisoned Guildford Four, starring Daniel Day-Lewis and Pete Postlethwaite.
Next on TCM, In the Name of the Father. Then Much Ado About Nothing. And later, The Fugitive Kind. Give Brando a hand on TCM tonight.
Thanks for watching TCM. I'm Alicia Malone, and tonight we've been taking a look at films that star the great English actress Emma Thompson. She is a versatile star of the screen and stage, as well as being a writer, and her work has seen her nominated for a total, so far, of 5 Academy Awards, winning 2 of those. Next, we're watching one of her Oscar-nominated performances in the powerful 1993 drama In the Name of the Father, directed by Jim Sheridan. This film also features an Oscar-nominated performance by Daniel Day-Lewis, who had worked with director Jim Sheridan on the award-winning biopic My Left Foot. This is another true story with a script written by Jim Sheridan and Terry George based on the wrongful imprisonment of Jerry Conlon. Daniel Day-Lewis plays Jerry Conlon, who we see first doing odd jobs in Belfast, Ireland, where his father, Giuseppe, played by Pete Postlethwaite, is doing his best to try and keep him out of the hands of the IRA. Giuseppe tries to send Jerry to London to keep him out of trouble, but soon Jerry is accused and jailed along with others for a bombing he did not commit. This is one of those you wouldn't believe it if it weren't true stories, and Emma Thompson comes into the film during the 3rd act, playing the lawyer who fought to get justice for Jerry. Produced by Gabriel Byrne from 1993, this is In the Name of the Father. In his typical fashion, Daniel Day-Lewis prepared as much as he could to play Jerry Conlon in the Name of the Father. He lost weight, he spent time in jail, and worked hard to mould his natural English accent into Conlon's Belfast-specific accent. The film was well received by critics and by the Academy, with 7 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, Best Actor for Daniel Day-Lewis, and Best Supporting Actress for Emma Thompson. Screenwriter Terry George was also Oscar nominated, but despite the success of the film, George said there was a big backlash against it, and against himself and writer-director Jim Sheridan. In the Name of the Father was called a pro-IRA and pro-terrorist propaganda movie in the press, and lawyers for the film even suggested that they change the poster to read based on a true story instead of this is a true story, so they didn't get sued. Quite a few details were changed from the actual events. For example, Jerry and Giuseppe did not share a prison cell, but Jim Sheridan later said that his focus was really on the father-son relationship. I was accused of lying in The Name of the Father, he said, but the real lie was saying it was a film about the Guildford Four, when really it was about a non-violent parent. All right, so we just watched 2 movies featuring Emma Thompson, both released in 1993. She actually starred in a 3rd film that year as well, and we have that film next. It's a classic Shakespearean comedy with Emma Thompson opposite her then-husband, Kenneth Branagh, who also adapted the screenplay and directed the film. Enjoy.
Next on TCM, Much Ado About Nothing, then The Fugitive Kind, and later, The Tea House of the August Moon. We're go for more Brando on TCM today.